Alright, so this is the tent I brought with me on the Appalachian Trail and hiked the first 300 miles with. I've also used it 3 other times within the White Mountains, and I loved it on the Appalachian Trail, but in the White Mountains it is definitely not ideal. And that is why I got a new tent. So the one behind me is a tension tent, which means I need 2 trekking poles to set it up. And I really needed to upgrade to a freestanding tent or a semi-freestanding tent, which is what this new one is. So I'm going to share why I decided to get another tent and why I felt like this one was going to be a lot better for the White Mountains, because there are a lot of differences, and I've only set this up once inside my house, but now I'm in my yard and I'm going to set it up again and show you why. Alright, so you can see that this is a semi-freestanding tent because I don't even have tent stakes in and it's still standing up. The only reason why it's semi-freestanding is because this is where my feet would go, and if I want more room I could take this line and stake that out and make a bigger foot box, which is easy to do. Alright, so you're probably wondering, what tent did I get? And the answer is I got the big Agnes Tiger Wall UL2. I went with another 2-person tent because I really wanted that extra space for either my dog or all of my gear, because I just think the 1-person tents are just a little too small, and I really like spreading out and enjoying my time in my tent. I don't want to be crammed. So I thought this was perfect. There's so much space in it. And I ended up getting this tent on backcountry.com, and Backcountry is sponsoring this video, so thank you, Backcountry. I always go to backcountry.com when it's time to buy new gear for any new activity or adventure I'm going on, because that website makes it so easy. You can filter by anything you need, by price, by weight. You can talk to a gearhead, which is actual real people who do these same types of activities, and you can go in the chat bar and ask them any sort of question. I actually talked to a gearhead the other week and I asked her a question, and she didn't quite know the answer, but what she did was she forwarded my message to another gearhead that knew exactly what I was asking, because he was an expert in the sport I was asking. I was actually asking about getting a split board, but that's for a whole other topic. He sent me links, he sent me the best brands, the best deals, and it was amazing. Alright, so anyways, back to the tent. I found the exact tent I needed by using all the filters on the side of the website, so I was able to enter in how much I wanted to spend and what I wanted the weight of it to be, and a 3-season tent and all that. And then I got a handful of tents that fit my criteria, and I was able to pick the one I need. I also went into the individual descriptions of each tent, and I was able to read all the specs. Everything was so clearly marked out. And that is how I ended up with this, and I'm so pumped I did. And if you need anything from backcountry.com, I have a discount code that I can share with you. It's Nahamsha15, and it will save you 15% off your first purchase at backcountry.com. Exclusions might apply, but really use this code, because you could, if you're interested in this tent, you could save a lot of money. So please use that for yourself or for any holiday shopping that you're gonna do soon. So anyways, it is actually just starting to rain, so I might go inside and try to wait this out and continue making this video a little later. Alright, I'm back a couple days later. It's a beautiful morning, and I'm going to talk about these 2 tents that I own. This isn't going to be a review about the 2 tents, but rather just my experience buying both of them, why I switched, and what kind of differences they make in my hike, and all that jazz. So I have my original tent behind me, the Z-Pax Duplex tent. I'm going to talk a little bit about that first, and then my new tent's actually set up right over there. So once I'm done talking about this, I'm going to go and talk about the new tent and all the differences they have. I'm going to kind of list off the reasons why this tent wasn't working for me. And to be honest, it worked perfectly on the Appalachian Trail, but what didn't work for me was taking it on my overnight trips in the White Mountains. So when I got off the Appalachian Trail and I did a lot more camping and backpacking here in my home state of New Hampshire, that's when I had problems with this. The biggest problem, oh, my neighbors are here. And that is mostly because the tent sites I wanted to stay at the White Mountains consisted mostly of tent platforms. There are these tent platforms in the Whites, mostly to help with the trail and erosion and all that, but also because the Whites are very steep and it's kind of hard to find a flat place to set up your tent. So they have these tent platforms where you can just set your tent up on top of that. And this tent did not work on platforms because it is a tension tent, and to set it up you need to stake it into the ground. And if you are on a wooden platform, you can't exactly just stake it into the wooden platform. There are these little screws on the sides of the platforms that you could put your stake in and secure it that way, but they're very far apart. They're not exactly where you need them, and sometimes my lines weren't even long enough to reach them. So a tent that could usually take me like 4 or 5 minutes to set up was taking me 20 minutes, and I still wasn't even able to get a good pitch out of it. My last backpacking trip, I made a YouTube video about it. I was hiking Mount Liberty. You probably would have seen me struggle setting this up, and it was in that moment that I realized I needed a freestanding tent. All right, now we're gonna switch this around and talk about that tent. Can you see it? All right, so that, again, it's the big Agnes Tigerwall UL2 tent, and that's the one I ultimately ended up with. I got this because it is a semi-freestanding tent, which means I don't need to stake it into the ground to set it up. So it is perfect for tent platforms, and I'll show you real quick. So right now I had 4 stakes on each corner because it opens up the toe box a little bit and it can help it from, flying away. But this is the tent without any tent stakes. So if there's a wooden platform that I want to camp at in the White Mountains, I can easily set that on and not have to worry about it. These platforms usually do have these giant rocks, so if you do want to stake it out, you can just put a stake under the rock and kind of secure the tent that way. The rocks work for the semi-freestanding tents, but it's not a good way to rely on a tension tent. So it's not like I could have used those rocks to set up my older tent on the platforms. From having this for only like a week or two, I've set it up in my yard and inside my house, and I can already set this up faster than I do with my duplex, which I have a lot more experience with. So this setup is super fast, and I'm like really pleased about it. It's a perfect pitch every single time. So even on the tent platforms, I can get a perfect pitch. And with the duplex, it is a struggle to get a perfect pitch even on the perfect terrain. Sometimes it doesn't work, and you have to go around and adjust things multiple times before the tent is completely set up the way you want it to be. A couple bonus features I like about the Tigerwall UL2 tent that I didn't quite get in my other tent is the amount of pockets inside for storage. There are a couple smaller pockets in the duplex, but this has great storage up above, great pockets, great hooks along the top of the tent if you need to hang up any wet clothes or even hang up a lantern. So I really like that. I love organizing my gear and just knowing where everything is. So being able to put things in pockets and being able to find them when I need them is really helpful to me. I also like how the rain fly is separate for a couple of reasons. One, as you can see, the whole top of the tent is mesh, and if it's not going to rain, you can leave the rain fly off and just have such good visibility of the stars, or you can even get better airflow. So if it's hot, you can take the rain fly off and you can get air going through the tent, whereas I couldn't with my single wall duplex tent. That allowing the airflow to get through the tent also results in less condensation, which is a huge plus of having this double wall tent. All right, and that's going to conclude the reasons why I decided to get this new tent. I'm super pumped about it, super excited to bring it out into the White Mountains and actually put some use on it. Again, this is not a review because I've never actually slept in the tent. I've only just set it up and experienced it at my house that way. Maybe once I do put some miles, I can do an official review on this tent. I don't know how much longer in the season I'm going to be able to do overnights because winter is approaching so fast and I'm not exactly experienced enough to do winter camping just yet. So hope you enjoyed this. Maybe if you're on the fence about tension tents and freestanding tents, maybe this helped you decide what route you should take and what would work for you, because I kind of wish when I was preparing for the Appalachian Trail more people talked about these freestanding tents, because all I heard was Z-packs and tension tents from ultralight backpacking influencers. So again, if you're interested in a new tent, make sure to use my code on backcountry, which is Nahamsha 15. It could save you a lot of money because I know tents are expensive. So 15% off an expensive tent is going to save you a decent amount of money. And also this outfit I got, this new Patagonia, and these pants are also from backcountry, and I've been living in them for the past week or two. So I love this Patagonia fleece. It's perfect to wear to work because I can hike in it, but it's also good for day-to-day life. And these pants, oh my god, they're hiking pants, but then the inside of the pant is lined with fleece, so they're so warm. I am planning on doing a lot of winter hiking this winter, and I don't want to be cold, so these are great. They're warm, and I think they're water resistant, so that's great. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.